and I currently run a business called Mama Moss, which was set up during lockdown. I sell sea moss health products, so sea moss is something that I used to take. It's a natural vitamin, it comes from the sea in Grenada. So yeah, it's something that I started taking myself, and then with lockdown I felt like a lot of people were looking for alternative health products, and I just thought it's a good time to try and see if I could share what I was already doing with the rest of the people, really. And I launched in August, was it August 2020? Yeah, August 2020, and now I do local supply, delivery, and I also do international. So Netherlands, Norway, we've had orders from America, Australia, and so yeah, it just boomed really quickly. I was also lucky enough to get funding from Santander through a programme I went through with the launch at Salford Uni, and Santander work in partnership with them, and they gave me a grant which really helped me get my website set up. So since I started that, the business kind of spread into a few different angles. So we've got the water side, I do water as well, alkaline water and herbal teas as well. Prior to that, my background is in property, real estate, selling international real estate in Dubai mainly. So I did live in Dubai for 2 years, which was a roller coaster ride because we didn't have a salary, it was just commission based. So some months I'd be earning big bucks, other months you're doing nothing. So it was a bit, for me, it was just a bit up and down, which is why in the end I came home, settled, and that's when I had my little boy, bought my first home, and gradually I just started to build myself up from scratch, really. So at school I was always quite, I got good grades at school, but I did feel like I never really fit in at school. I was never a popular child, I was never the pretty girl, the boys didn't fancy me, so I was always sort of wondering, like, why, what's wrong with me? I always felt, you know, like people didn't really like me. The teachers liked me, but I used to get bullied and stuff like that. And at such a young age, there wasn't many black children in my school. That was primary school and high school. So I think a lot of school for me was just finding my way and to be an individual and be okay with being different and not always accepted. But what I found is that, you know, the more I did, say, outside of school, or the more I did play on my individuality, the more that people would start to recognise me or see me a little bit more. So yeah, I think as well, growing up in this area, which is Longsight, a lot of people might class it as, you know, ghetto or whatever. So yeah, it was quite rough. It was quite rough growing up around here because the environment, there's a lot of gangsters really around me coming out, even in here in the park. There was a lot of crime-related stuff happening, so to watch that was difficult. And also I'd get into sort of altercations with, you know, some of the guy gang members because they were quite territorial about where you would hang around. If you was in the wrong location, if you was on the wrong territory because you're from this area, like, you could literally get hurt. On a few occasions I did. So to have that side of the world going on, and then to be going to school, because I ended up going to a private school, it was completely different. You know, you've got kids coming in Bentleys and everything's all completely different. But in school I was considered probably quite rough, and in my home area I'm considered a bit of a snob. So again, it was like I don't really fit in either of these two places. So what I found was that I was trying to blend in with these two environments and I didn't really fit anywhere. So I lost myself a little bit and I'd find myself seeking validation. And it's only when I got a little bit older and I left school and I started to develop my own skills and live my own way that I realised that actually it's those things that make you different, that set you apart, and it's a blessing. But I think when you're young and you're in school, you just want to be part of the crowd, don't you? So we're in Crowcroft Park and The advice I'll give to the younger version of me is that the amount of time that I spent in this park and some of the experiences that I had over the misspent years here, I think looking back I would have spent my time a little bit more wisely, chose different company, probably immersed myself in some courses, self-development, taking a little bit of ownership of my youth really, because I was just kind of hanging around wanting to be with certain crowds of people and feel like I had somewhere to belong. But I think as I've got older, I'm now realising that I create the space for myself, and that comes from following my intuition. It's very personal to me. Everybody has that sort of guide inside them, and I think if I could go back, I would tell myself to follow that, not to have limited beliefs, not to look at the people next to me and think about what they're doing or compare myself to other people. I think for me, art has become a therapy. I use art now as a therapy because, again, it's something I can create. It allows me to create over consume, because I think these days we've got social media, we can scroll and scroll and scroll, and it's all just going into your mind. You're absorbing all of this material that you're not creating, and you actually don't have a choice what you see. So I think with art, it's a bit of an escape from that for me. It allows me to create something, and yeah, it's been really important for me. I started journaling, like written journaling, and then a lady that I spoke to, she said, get colourful with your journaling, get into it, and that's what got me back into my art. I remember doing my art A-level, and I used to put my heart and soul into my work. I would paint about my struggles, and I would use, things like barbed wire. I would use materials to represent a feeling, an emotion, and I just connected with my art teacher really well, and she understood me in a way that like nobody else did, because she could see me through my artwork, and it's a way of putting out a message that you can't possibly vocalise. On Facebook, basically, I was going through a breakup in my relationship, and I was being quite vocal about the breakup on Facebook, just kind of venting, and some people weren't sure about that, whether it's a good thing or it's a bad thing, but a lot of other people started following my journey and were supporting me through my breakup, and I felt that way of expressing myself really helped me to understand I made the right decision, and even guys were sort of agreeing with some of the stuff I was saying. So there was one person in particular that followed my story, especially in relation to my relationship breakup, and it was actually him that nominated me for Portraits of Black Britain. I wasn't aware that it was something happening. He said, would you be interested? I said, absolutely. And then I got contacted from the team at Portraits of Black Britain themselves, and I had to fill out a little bit of a form about why I believe I should be part of the project, and I was lucky enough to be chosen. So there's 116 portraits in total. It's black people who live in Britain, who are trying to offer something to the community, basically. It's all about representation, and how we portray black people and the work that they're doing in the UK. Yeah, I feel, at first it felt super surreal. I got imposter syndrome. I was like, I felt like I didn't deserve to be up there at first, because there's a lot of other people in the portraits who are like idols to me, and they inspire me, and to be up there with them, I was just thinking, wow, I couldn't believe it, to be honest. But as time's gone on, I think, you know what, I've got to start to take a little bit of credit and be like, you do deserve to be there, you work hard, and yeah, I just feel honoured, to be honest. And I think showing it to my son and him getting to see that is probably the most powerful part of it all for me. He's the reason I'm doing everything I'm trying to do. I'm trying to set a good example and show him that the possibilities in the world are endless if you decide to take risk, put yourself out there a little bit. And I think if you express yourself, generally, it's only a matter of time before people are going to start to take notice of your expressions, and to be able to share that with other people, but especially my son, and have something that he can look back on when he's a little bit older, I just hope that it'll inspire him to make sure that he's spreading his wings as well.